Hello and welcome to the Art Market podcast.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the book that you did with Lynn Green, Painting with Smoke?
Yeah, well, I felt it was important to have a book because I think fine artists know this, but a lot of ceramists don't know this, that it's very important to have documentation of your work. And I've always tried to get catalogues and get work in publications and things, but I also wanted a book which, between two covers, gave an idea of the way my work worked and developed and grew over the years, so that people could see that some of the strange things I was doing were there's a reason to them, and there was a logical progression from one type of work to another. And I was fortunate enough in two ways. First of all, I approached various publishers and they weren't interested, apart from one, which sadly is no longer going, a publisher called Smith Settle, ran by a man called Ken Smith, who every year published a book on local artists, different disciplines each year. And his firm was well known for high quality bookbinding and publishing. And he said he would publish free a book on my work. So that was lucky break number one. Lucky break was number two, was that I'd just started becoming friends with an author, Lynn Green, moved up from Southampton up to Huddersfield area because her husband was working for Kurt Lees, Jonathan Drake, who was the cultural officer for Kurt Lees. And I approached her to write the book because she was a brilliant writer on fine art, particularly modernism. And I wanted somebody who wasn't particularly a ceramicist, but knew about art and could bring fresh light onto ceramics as an art form, rather than being involved with the sort of history of British studio pottery and all the kind of baggage that entailed. And I liked her writing, very simple, approachable, transparent writing. And she agreed to do that. So this was in the year 2000, it was published, the first edition. Interestingly, that book now, it went out of edition pretty quickly, about 3 years after publication, it sold out. And it's now, that first edition is now on specialist sort of limited edition book sites, websites for limited edition books. It's now going for over £200. So if anybody bought that book for 18 quid 10 years ago, it's been a pretty good investment. Last year, in 2009, we published a revised edition, extended edition of the book. It has it's got an extra chapter and a lot more detail on the technical processes and the specific aesthetics involved with Raku firing. So it's had an extra chapter, a lot more images. And this time it's published by Lynn Green's own publishing company, because Smith Settle were bought out by the Dalesman company. So this has been in publication now for a year or so. And it's, again, you could buy it from my website, or we can certainly put you in touch with Lynn Green and her salespeople. And that's selling for £35 a copy, hardback.
And how many editions are there of this particular?
This is a 2000 run. 2000 run. The first one was 1,000.
So once they've gone,
then
it'll go for price.
It'll be a good investment.
Yeah, good investment.
What do you love most about what you do?
I think it's taking a bit of mud, sticky mud, and making something beautiful out of it. And that gives me a lot of pleasure. So that at the end of this fraught process, you stand back and you think, gosh, have I made that? And that kind of gives me the inspiration to go on and make more.
What's next for your company?
In addition to all the exhibitions, I think the next big thing are a series of masterclasses next spring and summer in Italy. As I said before, I have a small studio and house in Italy. I don't actually make ceramics there myself, but I do run masterclasses, workshops. So that's going to be interesting. We started that last year and it was very successful. So we're going to continue that. And I also do a lot of drawing and I'm going to start doing some printmaking out there as well.
I can't let you leave without telling us about your honorary mention.
Oh, the Korean competition. This is a big international biennial ceramic competition and exhibition and conference that's held obviously every 2 years in Incheon, Korea, which is their sort of ceramics centre. Ceramics are very, very high status, important in Korean culture. I entered the competition last year and got an honourable mention. Didn't get first prize, unfortunately, but I got an honourable mention, which was very, very nice, very flattering. And I'm also, as you mentioned before, I'm an honorary member of a kind of ceramics association, a group of artists who are trying to push the boundaries of ceramics in their own individual sort of processes. And this is based in Umbria, Italy, and it's called Ceramica Libera, or Free Ceramics. It's run by young Italian ceramists, but it also involves Polish, French, and myself from the UK. And as I said before, it has exhibitions all over Europe, and it's going to be all over the world as well.
Well, I feel very honoured having met you. And before I go, what advice would you give new artists just starting?
It's a difficult one, but I think the advice I would give is persistence. Keep going. Do everything you can to keep going. Keep plugging away at it.
It's been lovely talking to you. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you at the art market.
Thank you very much.
If you'd like to know more about the art markets, go to www.artmarkets.co.uk.